You know, during the Gen Z uprising, we were recruiting and CIA is also recruiting. That is the truth of the matter. Why don't we have Kasmuel here? He was at the forefront of leading the Gen Z uprising. But we know for a fact that some of the people that were in the street now are being airlifted to Washington, to those perversion of programs in the name of training leaders for Kenya. Reject CIA, reject.
Reject.
Comrades, viva. Viva. Viva Pio, viva.
Viva.
Viva Pio, Gama, Pinto, viva.
Viva.
I just want to make just a few reflections in connection with the comrade chairperson's reflection. Because what the ruling class try as much as possible that we should forget our true heroes. They try as much as possible that how is it possible that in my entire education system I never knew who Pio Gama Pinto is until I started to study notes from the underground. How is it possible that people like McOure and Dedan Kimathi, in fact in Dedan Kimathi they even pervert it. They say that Dedan Kimathi surrendered to his killers, while as we know for a fact that Dedan Kimathi was defiant until the day he was hanged. No wonder even today the only case that managed to declassify a lot of documents around the mystery of hanging Dedan Kimathi was actually one case on reparations. And there is one British woman that published a very important anthropological document that I know we study in our school, Caroline Atkins, the British Gulag. So that document made the British government to declassify only a quarter of the documents when during their colonial domination. Even today, when the king came here, why did we go to the street on that day? Was to demand to know the burial site of Dedan Kimathi. Today we could have gone to the burial site of Dedan Kimathi, but we do not know where our freedom hero was buried. Long live Dedan Kimathi, long live.
Long live.
In fact, there are even rumors that his body might have been airlifted to London. But we still hope that when the Communist Party Marxist takes government, at least revolutionary justice will be carried out in its significant format, and the poor people will restore their dignity. So one of the tenets of the National Democratic People's Revolution, but now remember after our discussion in today's conference, we even advanced it further. Now we don't even call it the National Democratic Revolution. We call it the National People's Democratic Revolution. And then the last part, we had indicated yesterday that it is for a truly independent Kenya. We again modified its last part in this morning debates. And I'm just reminding comrades now it is for a truly independent socialist Kenya. The second element that I wanted to bring out in my reflection today is the role of CIA. You know, during the Gen Z uprising, we were recruiting and CIA is also recruiting. That is the truth of the matter. Why don't we have Kasmuel here? He was at the forefront of leading the Gen Z uprising. But we know for a fact that some of the people that were in the street now are being airlifted to Washington, to those perversion of programs in the name of training leaders for Kenya. Reject CIA, reject.
Reject.
So Pio Gama Pinto was also a victim of CIA. Remember, one recruited CIA. I don't know why these people that CIA recruits become more popular than revolutionary in that time. Just imagine Tom Mboya. In fact, if you stood at the statue of Dedan Kimathi, facing us on our back was even double the size the statue that was built by United States in memory of Tom Mboya. While all of us know that Tom Mboya was a CIA operative that saw several of PO's comrades murdered. Down with Tom Mboya, down.
Down.
So it is important to also reclaim the legacy of our true independent heroes. The other one that I wanted to say, of course, is that the antithesis of the African socialism. The African socialism was a perversion of socialism. It was crafted under the sessional paper number 10, presented by Tom Mboya in where? In the Legico. And at that time, the fight was between Gama Pinto, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and on the other side was actually Tom Mboya and his dirty money. Just like when we saw the finance bill being passed through, we saw again the United States imperialism sponsoring members of parliament to go to lavish hotels in Mombasa to discuss what? To discuss how to vote without thinking. And that is how we landed into the crisis of the IMF-backed finance bill. So Pinto was a very lonely guy after the defeat in parliament. And he said for a fact that his duty to go to bourgeois parliament was to actually to delegitimize it. To tell the Kenyan people that the bourgeois parliament will not give them anything. And for that reason, one of the forms of our struggle, but not the main form of our struggle, of course, is electoral politics. But we cannot be cheated that we'll get anything in the bourgeois parliament. Remember 1997, even though the sellout was in parliament, but at that time he was not a sellout. Mwandawiro Mganga was a member of parliament. Every day when the motion of the people were brought, the answer said, now let the communists talk. Then the communists will speak for hours. Then they will say, now let the capitalists vote. Then they will say, let the capitalists have it because of the majority. That's the perversion of the parliamentarism. And then lastly, of course, I wanted to mention, every time the ruling class tried to divide us, they say that Indian people oppress us, because next to the British imperialism in our country at that time, they decided to elevate some Indians, but not the working class Indian, to tell them that now the racial question was that the Indian was near to the white person and the black person was at the bottom of the. But again, we saw several Indian workers, particularly the immigrant workers that came with the British colonialism to build the Kenya-Uganda railway line. And these are the people that we celebrate today. Long live Comrade Makan Singh, long live.
Long live.
Again, we must remember that it's the same Tom Mboya who perverted the trade union movement and created Koti to become an appendage of the state and to actually conspire to defeat Makan Singh, who was one of the militant trade union leaders. Now we know that Hari Dhuku Road, that the Central Police stands, I know at least half of this comrade have spent time in that police station because it is one of the beacons of colonialism and murder of the progressives, the Central Police Station. That also brings out clearly to say that our unity and our primary unity is on class basis and not on race or on tribal basis. And every day we say we pronounce our hostility, exception of the ruling class and the ethnic mobilization to divide the working class and the urban poor to continue to dominate them. Long live Gama Pinto, long live.